My sister tricked me into signing away our company. Now she'll learn who holds the real power. The email landed in my inbox at exactly 3:17 a.m. Access denied. Administrator privileges revoked. I smiled, imagining Amanda's face when she tried to log into our company's systems in a few hours. My sister never did understand that running a tech company required more than just owning shares. My name is Megan Chin, and I was about to teach my sister that true power isn't found in legal documents. It's built in lines of code. Did you do it? Nathan's text came through moments later. My CTO had been waiting for this signal for months, ever since we discovered Amanda's scheme. It's done, I replied. How long until she notices? Based on her usual login time, about 4 hours. Want me to record her reaction? I hesitated, then typed, no. I want to see it myself. 3 months ago, I would have avoided any confrontation with Amanda. We'd founded Codecraft Solutions together 5 years ago, turning my programming skills and her business degree into a $50 million company. But that was before I discovered the fake contract, before I learned how thoroughly my own sister had betrayed me. The signs had been there, looking back, Amanda's increasing secrecy about our finances, the way she brushed me to sign paperwork during our mother's funeral, claiming it was just routine updates while I was grieving, her subtle manipulation playing on our childhood dynamics where she was always the strong one, the smart one. Well, I was just the quiet geek who was good with computers. I got up from my desk, walking to the window of my home office. The city was still dark, but dawn wasn't far off. Soon, Amanda would arrive at Codecraft's headquarters, confident in her victory, only to find herself locked out of everything. My phone buzzed. A text from Claire, our head of HR security team, is briefed. We're ready. Everything was in place. While Amanda had been busy with her legal maneuvering, I'd been preparing. She thought owning the company meant controlling it. She was about to learn the difference. At 7:30 a.m., I walked into Codecraft's office, nodding to the security team. They'd already been briefed about the potential situation. Our employees were arriving, settling into their workstations, unaware of the drama about to unfold. Morning, Megan, called Tommy from engineering. Did you see the error reports from last night's test build? Already fixed, I replied, managing a smile. This was why I loved our company, the actual work, the problem-solving, the team that had become like family. Everything Amanda saw as just numbers on a spreadsheet. At 7:45, right on schedule, Amanda strode through the front doors. My sister had always been the picture of corporate success, designer suits, perfect hair, the kind of confidence that came from never doubting your own superiority. Today, she'd outdone herself, probably planning to celebrate her takeover. Good morning, little sister, she called out, her heels clicking across the lobby. I trust you've had time to process everything. I kept my voice neutral. Of course. Would you like to go over the transition plan in your office? She smiled, that condescending smile I'd known since childhood. My office? Oh, you mean the CEO's office. Yes, let's do that. I followed her to the elevator, watching as she punched in her code. Nothing happened. That's strange, she muttered, trying again. Still nothing. Problem? I asked innocently. She shot me an irritated look. Technical glitch, I'm sure. You can fix it. That's all you've ever been good at, right? The technical stuff. Right, I agreed, entering my own code. The elevator hummed to life. Just the technical stuff. Amanda's first hint that something was seriously wrong came when her desktop computer failed to recognize her login. The second came when her phone lost access to the company email server. What's going on? She demanded, jabbing at her keyboard. Why isn't anything working? I sat down across from her, feeling strangely calm. Did you really think I wouldn't have backups? That I'd just hand over everything we built because you tricked me into signing some papers? Her face flushed. Those papers are legally binding, Megan. I own Codecraft now. You signed over your shares, your position, everything. You own shares in a company, I corrected her. But this company runs on code, my code. And while you were busy with your legal tricks, I was busy too. I pulled out my tablet, showing her the system logs. Every piece of proprietary software we developed, every client interface, every bit of infrastructure, it all requires administrative access. Access that, as of 3 hours ago, only I have. She stood up so quickly her chair rolled back and hit the wall. You can't do this. I'll sue you. For what? I asked calmly. For maintaining security protocols? For protecting company assets? Everything I've done is documented, justified, and, most importantly, legal. I'll hire other programmers, she threatened. They can rebuild everything. I actually laughed at that. Really? You think you can just recreate 5 years of development? Our entire codebase is locked down. Even if you could find programmers capable of rebuilding it, how long would that take? How many clients would you lose in the meantime? The reality of her situation was starting to sink in. Amanda slowly sank back into her chair. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice smaller now. "A new agreement," I said, pulling out a folder. "One that reflects the real value each of us brings to this company. You're good at business, Amanda. I've never denied that. But I'm not just the quiet little sister anymore." Her hands were shaking slightly as she took the folder. "You planned this. All of it." "I learned from the best," I replied. "You taught me that family doesn't mean anything in business, remember? We used Mom's funeral to push through your fake contract. She had the grace to look ashamed, at least for a moment." I shouldn't have." "No," I agreed. "You shouldn't have. Now, should we discuss the new terms, or would you like to try explaining to our clients why none of their systems are working?" Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from Nathan. "Board members are arriving early. They want to know what's going on with the system access issues." "Perfect timing," I told Amanda. "Looks like we'll have an audience for this discussion. Ready to face the board and explain your brilliant takeover plan?" For the first time since we were kids, I saw real fear in my sister's eyes. The game had changed, and she knew it. The boardroom was already full when Amanda and I arrived. 8 pairs of eyes watched us take our seats, everyone aware that something significant was happening but unsure exactly what. "Would someone like to explain why our entire system is running on limited access?" Richard Barnes, our lead investor, asked. His tone was calm, but I could hear the underlying tension. Amanda opened her mouth to speak, but I beat her to it. "Actually, yes," I said, pulling out copies of both contracts, Amanda's fraudulent one and my new proposal. "We're dealing with a security protocol I implemented after discovering an attempt to take over the company through questionable means." I distributed the documents, watching faces change as board members began reading. Amanda sat rigid beside me, her knuckles white where she gripped the armrest of her chair. "This first contract," I continued, "was presented to me during our mother's funeral, described as routine paperwork. As you can see, it actually transferred complete control of Codecraft to Amanda, effectively removing me from the company I helped build. Is this true?" Richard turned to Amanda, his expression darkening. "It's more complicated than that," she started, but fell silent as I pulled up the security footage on the boardroom screen. There she was, caught on camera, rushing me to sign papers while I was clearly distraught, barely looking at what was put in front of me. The timestamp showed it was less than an hour after Mom's service. "Miss Chin," Richard's voice was ice cold now. "Do you have any idea how many regulations this violates?" Before Amanda could respond, I brought up another screen. Our company metrics from the past 5 years. Codecraft's success isn't just about business strategies, I explained. Our proprietary software, which I developed, is what sets us apart. Every major client we have depends on systems I created, systems that require continuous maintenance and updates by me and my team. Nathan chose that moment to enter right on cue. "Megan, we've got clients calling. They want to know why their access is restricted to basic functions only." "What exactly have you done?" Richard asked, leaning forward. "Protected our company's assets," I replied. "Every bit of code I've written includes fail-safes. If unauthorized changes are made to company structure or leadership, the systems automatically enter protected mode. It's all documented in our security protocols." I pulled up another document, the security measures I'd implemented months ago, all properly filed and approved. "This isn't just about ownership," I continued. "It's about understanding what makes Codecraft valuable. Amanda sees numbers on a spreadsheet. I see the actual technology that keeps us competitive." The board members exchanged glances. They were business people, but they weren't stupid. They understood that a tech company without its tech was just an empty shell. "What are you proposing?" Richard asked. I handed out copies of my new agreement, a restructuring that reflects reality. Amanda keeps her business development role. She's good at it when she's not trying to take over the company. I maintain control of our technical operations and intellectual property, equal ownership, divided responsibilities. And if I refuse? Amanda's voice was barely controlled. Then, I walk away, I said simply. Take my team with me. Start fresh. How long do you think Codecraft would last with no access to its core technology? The room was silent as everyone processed this. Amanda's face went through a range of emotions, anger, fear, finally settling on resignation. The board needs to discuss this privately, Richard announced. Miss Chin, both of you, please wait outside. In the hallway, Amanda paced while I sat quietly, checking messages from my team. Client calls were piling up, each one a reminder of how dependent the company was on systems only I could fully access. You've changed, Amanda said suddenly, stopping her pacing. The Megan I knew would never have done this. The Megan you knew trusted her sister, I replied, not looking up from my phone. She learned better. I was trying to protect the company, she argued, but her voice lacked conviction. No, you were trying to control it. There's a difference. Before she could respond, the boardroom door opened. Richard's assistant beckoned us back in. The next hour was intense. The board had questions about everything, the technical systems, the client relationships, the proposed new structure. I answered each one calmly, demonstrating exactly why I'd become indispensable to Codecraft's success. Amanda sat silently through most of it, her perfect corporate facade cracking bit by bit as she realized how thoroughly I'd outmaneuvered her. Finally, Richard cleared his throat. We've reached a decision. The board approves the new arrangement, with some minor adjustments. He slid a revised contract across the table. I suggest you both review this carefully. Very carefully. I read through the document, noting the changes. They were fair, even adding some protections I hadn't thought of. Amanda read her copy more slowly, her hands trembling slightly. If we both sign this, she said finally, what happens to the systems? They go back to normal, I replied, after a thorough security audit, of course. She picked up a pen, then hesitated. Megan, I don't... Just sign, I cut her off. We can talk about everything else later. One by one, we signed where indicated. With each signature, I felt the weight of the past few months lifting. This wasn't a complete victory. There were still wounds to heal, trust to rebuild, but it was a start. As the board members filed out, Richard paused by my chair. Well played, he said quietly. Your mother would be proud. I watched him leave. Those words hit harder than I expected. Would Mom be proud of either of us? Amanda was still sitting there, staring at the signed contracts. What now? She asked, sounding more like my sister than my business rival for the first time in months. I stood up, gathering my things. Now we do our jobs, separately but equally, and maybe we work on being sisters again. Eventually. She nodded slowly. I really am sorry, Megan. I got caught up in... I know, I said. But trust takes longer to rebuild than it does to break. Remember that next time you're tempted to play power games. The next 3 months were a lesson in careful balance. Amanda and I established clear boundaries. She handled external business relationships and growth strategy, while I managed our technical operations and development. We communicated through official channels, kept meetings strictly professional, and slowly began rebuilding Codecraft into something stronger than before. It wasn't easy. Years of sisterly competition didn't disappear overnight, and there were moments when old tensions threatened to surface. But we had something now that we never had before: respect for each other's true capabilities. One evening, as I was reviewing code for our newest product project, Amanda appeared in my office doorway. She looked different, less polished, more human somehow. About a minute? She asked, hovering uncertainly at the threshold. I gestured to a chair, saving my work. What's up? The Wilson contract, she began, setting a folder on my desk. They want to triple their service package, but it would require significant system modifications. I opened the folder, scanning the requirements. This is big, like rewrite half our core systems big. I know, she said. That's why I wanted to discuss it with you first. The old me would have just promised them everything and expected you to make it work. The admission surprised me. And the new you? The new me recognizes that I don't fully understand the technical implications. I need your expertise to make this decision. I leaned back, studying my sister. The Amanda of 6 months ago would never have admitted to needing anyone's help. It's doable, I said finally, but we'd need to expand the development team, maybe bring in some specialized talent. Timeline would be tight. She nodded, taking notes. Budget 7 figures minimum. Plus, we need to pause some other projects. Okay, she said, standing. I'll tell them we need a week to prepare a proper proposal. Both of us will present it together. As she reached the door, she paused. Hey, Megan. Mom's birthday is next week. I was thinking, maybe we could visit her grave together. The question caught me off guard. We hadn't visited Mom's grave together since the funeral, since the day Amanda had betrayed my trust. I'll think about it, I said carefully. She nodded, understanding this was neither a yes nor a no, and left. The next week was intense. Amanda and I worked late into the nights, combining her business strategy with my technical knowledge to create a proposal that could reshape Codecraft's future. It was the first time we truly collaborated as equals, each bringing our strengths to the table. Nathan watched us with amusement. Never thought I'd see this, he commented one evening as Amanda and I argued productively over system architecture diagrams. See what? I asked. You two actually working together instead of competing. It's like watching matter and antimatter learn to coexist. He had a point. Something had shifted between us. The power struggle was over, replaced by something more balanced, more mature. The day of Mom's birthday dawned clear and crisp. I found Amanda waiting by my car in the office parking lot, holding 2 bouquets of white lilies, Mom's favorite. You don't have to come, she said quietly. I know, I replied, unlocking the doors. Get in. The drive to the cemetery was silent. As we walked to Mom's grave, memories flooded back, both good and bad. The sister who had protected me from bullies in school, the businesswoman who had tried to take everything from me. I miss her, Amanda said suddenly, kneeling to arrange the flowers. She would have known how to handle all of this better. Would she? I asked, thinking of our mother's own struggles with family and business. Or would she have just wanted us to figure it out ourselves? Amanda smiled slightly. Probably both. She stood, brushing dirt from her knees. You know, she always said you were the smart one. I was so jealous of that. What? You were the golden child, the perfect daughter. Perfect at following rules, maybe. But you created things, built things. I just played the game everyone expected me to play. We stood there in silence, letting those truths sink in. The Wilson presentation is tomorrow, I said finally. Ready? She nodded. Think we can pull this off together? Yeah. I think we can. The next morning, we faced the Wilson team as a united front. Amanda handled the business strategy while I explained the technical innovations we proposed. When questions came up, we tag-teamed the responses, each deferring to the other's expertise. We landed the contract, the biggest in Codecraft's history. Celebrating in my office later, Amanda raised her coffee cup in a toast. To the Chin sisters. To doing things right, I corrected, but I was smiling as I clinked my cup against hers. That evening, as I prepared to leave the office, I found a small package on my desk. Inside was a framed photo, Amanda and me as kids, sitting at our first computer, both of us grinning at the screen. The note attached read, "Found this in Mom's things. Thought you should have it." I placed the photo next to my monitors, a reminder of where we'd started and how far we'd come. 6 months after the attempted takeover, Codecraft had grown beyond our original projections. Our new dual leadership structure had become a model for other tech companies. Amanda and I had found our rhythm, each excelling in our domains while respecting the others. Think Mom would be proud? Amanda asked one evening as we reviewed quarterly reports. I looked at the photo on my desk, then at my sister, not my rival anymore, but my true partner in building something meaningful. Yeah, I said. I think she would. The company we built was stronger now, founded not just on technology or business strategy, but on something more fundamental, the understanding that true power comes from combining our strengths rather than fighting over control. As for being sisters, we were working on that too, one day at a time. Some wounds take longer to heal, but they do heal if you let them, and sometimes what you build after breaking down is stronger than what was there before. As I sit here in my office late at night, the glow of the monitors casting familiar shadows across the framed photo of us as kids, I finally allow myself to feel everything I've pushed aside for months. The victory was real, the company is secure, our partnership is balanced, and Codecraft is thriving in ways I never imagined. But beneath the satisfaction runs a quieter current, relief mixed with sorrow, pride tangled with lingering hurt. I won. Yes, I outsmarted the betrayal, protected what we built, and forced the world to see my worth beyond the quiet geek label. Yet the cost was a fracture in the one relationship I thought was unbreakable. Amanda's apology came, and I believe it's genuine, but trust isn't a switch you flip back on. Some nights I still replay the funeral scene in my head, her hand guiding mine to sign, my tears blurring the words I never read. And anger flares fresh, hot, and unfair because I know grief clouded us both. Still, there's hope now, fragile but growing. Working side by side on the Wilson deal felt like the old days before shares and power plays, two sisters dreaming big over a clunky computer. I catch myself smiling at her quick ideas, respecting the way she reads a room I'd never notice. We're not fixed, but we're healing. One shared presentation, one cautious coffee, one silent drive to Mom's grave at a time. Mom would call this messy, human, and enough. And for the first time in years, I believe her. The code runs smoothly, the numbers climb, the real triumph is this: I'm no longer just the coder in the corner. I'm Megan Chin, CTO, co-CEO, sister, survivor, and I'm finally proud of every line I've written on screens and in life.